Back in October of 2005, my wife and I was out enjoying a beautiful flight, enjoying the fall colors in Murphy, North Carolina. We came in for a landing, and all of a sudden my side started letting down, and I told my wife, I says, hang on, I think we blew a tire. Well, next thing I knew, we were sliding sideways down the runway. Here's the skid marks, and we slid off the runway. Didn't get hurt. A little shook up. And what had happened was the welding plate, factory weld, broke, and the wheel folded under the wing, which kind of saved the wing and as we slid down the runway. Ended up having to hire a crane to lift the airplane and take it back over to the tarmac so we could get it ready to take home. Took 2x8s, doubled them up, put them under the wing, put a bunch of blankets underneath that to pad the wing before we lifted it up. And we took a real slow drive across the runway over to the tarmac. There I put it up on blocks, and we could see that how the weld had broke. There was a plate on the bottom of that landing gear. As you can see here, this is the bottom of the landing gear. This is where the plate was welded onto, and of course the plate went onto the wheel fork. You can see where we skidded down the runway on top of this wheel pant. That's what saved my wing. That finally let go, and when we went off the runway. I had posted this on the internet, asked the question to the Zenair forum. I said, anybody else had this break? And sure enough, I had a couple different people say, yeah, I had the exact same break. In fact, some of them sent me some pictures. I apologize for not remembering the name of the person that sent this to me. But this is another guy that had the same exact break weld. Zenair had changed that design right afterwards and put a beefier plate on there. I hired a welder to come over and weld that plate back on just so I could move the airplane around, and my intention is to take it home and work on it and repair it. Took the wings off, packed them all up, stuck them on a utility trailer to haul home. So I got them home and hung them up on the wall. Wasn't for sure how long I was going to work on the airplane before I could get it back together. Had a tow truck operator bring my fuselage home. I decided to go with a Grove spring gear. I had to modify the center wing to accept the gear. Had to beef it up quite a bit. The Grove gear is the type of gear that Zenair is using on some of the later models of the 60 or the 650 Zenair. So I had to beef up that center section. I fabricated a lot of different brackets to beef it all up. This is the center section where the seating goes, underneath the seating. So I did some pretty hefty brackets, bent them to the exact shape of the bottom there. Bolted them or riveted them all together. This is where the Grove gear would bolt up through the floor into that seating area. Also made some brackets for the fore and aft to help distribute the torque and pressure there. The bottom plate was 1/4 inch aluminum, 18 inches long. That was a C channel, 3 inches long or wide, 3 inches by 18 inches long. This is where the Grove bracket ties into for the gear. And it was well riveted to the bottom to help distribute all the torque there. Here's a picture of the old landing gear, and that was a bungee system that went up into the wing. Here's what the seats look like after I put the seat panel back in, covering up all the bolts and so on. Here the gear's bolted in. And I had to cover up the old hole where the old gear was. The gear was just slightly wider than the old gear, and it was taller. So what I had to do is I had to modify the nose gear to extend the nose gear out a little bit just so it made the airplane level again. I had a gentleman ask me if he could get some time in my airplane just a week before the incident happened, and I think he had done a few hard landings and I probably cracked that weld, but because I had the wheel pants on there I couldn't see the crack, and I think that's what probably happened there. Here's a picture of the old tire and the new wheels. Hauled it to Blairsville Airport. I have a hangar there, and ended up putting the wings back on. I did a lot of taxi tests to make sure everything was bolted on good there and fastened. I didn't want any gear breaking loose there. I had, since I did a major modification to the airframe, I had to have an inspection. FAA DAR came out, did the recertification and the paperwork. Again, I did a lot of taxi work. I'd go high-speed taxis. I'd lift off the runway and hit it down hard on the runway I'd try to make sure nothing failed. Ended up handling just absolutely great. So much better than the old bungee gear. Had a wider stance. It was just a really nice airplane, really nice handling airplane. I finished it in the year 2000. I got it back flying again in 2006. And I kept it several years and I ended up selling it and building some other experimentals after this one. It was a beautiful airplane, fun airplane to fly. I miss it.